We've lived a financial lie. A cruel, well-intentioned lie sold to us in school and at the family dinner table. We were taught that success was a sum, a linear accumulation: work, save, invest a little, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be free. The result is a generation obsessed with the external world, the latest investment scheme, the guru of the moment, the stock market chart. And while we search for the treasure map outside ourselves, the truth is that the access code to abundance is hidden in our own mental operating system. Think about the great personal financial collapses. Athletes who earned millions and ended up bankrupt. Entrepreneurs who sold their companies and months later were anxious and without capital. They didn't lose money because of bad markets, they lost money because of a flawed internal structure. This isn't a finance manual, it's a mental demolition document. We're going to dismantle the beliefs that bind you to mediocrity. What you're about to hear are the 10 fundamental principles for financial success. 10 foundational principles that, if implemented, make wealth not a goal, but an inevitable consequence of your design. If your financial life feels like a staircase leading nowhere, it's because you're climbing the wrong wall. Let's start building the right architecture. Let me illustrate this with the story of two men in clay. There were two apprentice sculptors who received the same amount of clay, the same master, and the same commission, to create something of lasting value. The first apprentice, impulsive, began molding immediately. He wanted the final form quickly, an impressive figure. But he forgot to knead the clay, to remove the air, to give it the necessary consistency. The result was a hollow object full of internal bubbles. It looked good on the outside, but it crumbled in the first kiln. The second apprentice, methodical, spent most of his time preparing the raw material. He kneaded it, tested the density, and ensured the base was homogeneous. His process was slow, invisible, and tedious. But when he finally shaped it, the sculpture was dense, solid, and survived every test of fire. Most people treat financial success like their first apprentice. They obsess over the external outcome, the car, the house, the quick sale, without preparing the raw materials, their mindset and habits. Elijah, the gardener, reminded us that fruit is the consequence of the seed. The sculptor reminds us that durability is the consequence of internal consistency. Wealth that lasts is free from internal bubbles of fear, emotional debt, and excuses. Today, we're going to need that consistency. Principle number 1, the sacrifice of identity. Burning the ship. People aren't poor because of what they do, but because of what they believe they deserve. This is the fundamental error. The sacrifice of identity is the most costly and crucial action. You can't bring a scarcity mindset to the table of abundance. The identity of always struggling to make ends meet is comfortable. It's a refuge. When you fail, that identity tells you, see, this is what always happens to you. You're consistent with who you are. You have to burn the ship of your former self. A millionaire, even before having the money, has already made decisions, developed habits, and adopted a language that prevents them from going back. Their former self no longer exists, not even as an emergency option. If you're given an escape route, you'll take it. Wealth demands permanence in a new way of thinking. It's a personality transformation. Ask yourself, what mental clothing does the person I am now wear? The clothing of a debtor, a victim, an excuser. And what mental clothing would the person I want to be wear? You have to start acting with the decorum, planning, and quiet confidence of this new identity before the money arrives. Wealth respects you when it sees that you no longer need it to validate yourself. Principle number 2. Time capitalism. The transition from muscle to machine. We have deified physical effort. We were told that whoever works the most hours earns the most. This is a trap. Time capitalism is the understanding that your time is worthless if it can only be exchanged once. If you are a consultant or a doctor, your wealth is limited to 24 hours a day. This is modern-day hourly slavery. The wealthy don't buy assets, they buy liberated time. They invest in automation, software, a system. Delegation, someone else's time, assistance, teams. Intellectual property assets, books, courses, patents, videos. The goal is to create an income that is completely decoupled from your physical presence. When you invest in delegation, you are not paying a salary, you're buying back hours of your life to dedicate to tasks that generate leverage. It's the transition from being the engine to being the designer of the engines. Metaphor, chess. The poor person plays to move their own pieces. The rich person plays to design a board where their pieces move on their own. If this perspective on time is making you rethink your workday and breaking your hard work narrative, subscribe right now and turn on notifications. We need to keep demolishing these myths together. Principle number 3. The muscle of risk aversion. The cost of inaction security is the fastest path to long-term poverty. The principle of risk aversion is a poorly managed fear. Most people, when they see an investment, ask themselves, what's the worst that can happen? Lose money. The millionaire asks, what's the worst that can happen if I don't make this investment? Lose the decade. The real risk isn't losing $5,000 on a project. The real risk is that your money in the bank loses 5% of its purchasing power each year due to inflation, which guarantees that, even if you feel secure, you are slowly becoming poorer. This is the silent opportunity cost. You have to cultivate the ability to make informed decisions under pressure and uncertainty. Risk is managed with knowledge, not avoidance. If you have to choose between the certainty of mediocrity, static saving, and the possibility of abundance, calculated investment, choose the possibility. Inaction is a financial decision with a very high price. Principle number 4. The triad of inescapable value. The income taxonomy. The market doesn't pay you for your time, it pays you for the difficulty of the problem you solve. The principle of the triad of inescapable value forces you to self-evaluate your position in the value chain. Ask yourself, could my job be replaced by an average person in 6 months? If the answer is yes, your value is low. To generate high-level income, you must operate in one of these 3 spheres: critical problems, high-intensity solving the most painful or costly problem for a very specific niche, example, optimizing an e-commerce conversion rate by 30%. Massive scalability, high reach, creating a digital or physical asset that requires only your effort once and can be consumed by 1 million people, example, software or a best-selling book. Extreme mastery, low substitutability, being so good at something so specialized that you are a scarce and irreplaceable resource, example, the surgeon who is an expert in a rare technique. Mediocrity is comfortable in the gray area. Wealth is only found at the extreme end of this triad. If you are stuck in tasks that don't meet any of these 3 criteria, you need to re-engineer your career. Principle number 5. Focus accounting. The impact filter. The most wasted resource by aspiring millionaires isn't money, it's attention. The focus accounting principle is your decision filtering system. Most people operate with a to-do list. Millionaires operate with an exclusion list. They understand that saying no is more important than saying yes. If a task has the potential to dramatically move the needle in your financial life, generate significant passive cash flow, open a door to a larger investment, free up 20 hours a week, it's a high-impact task. Everything else is noise, a cheap distraction that gives you the illusion of productivity. Today, look at your to-do list. Eliminate the 80% that produces 20% of the results and focus exclusively on the 20% that will give you 80% of the impact. A focused entrepreneur earns more in 1 hour than the average employee in a week because their focus is on exponentially productive tasks. If you're taking notes on these distinctions between hard work and smart work, leave a comment right now telling me which of these 10 principles has impacted you the most and why. Like and share to spread this mindset. Principle number 6. The invisible asset, your network. The environment equation. You've been told that your greatest asset is yourself. False. Your greatest asset is your environment. The invisible asset principle is the law of capital accumulation. Money flows where ideas and trust are. Great businesses aren't born from documents, they're born from casual conversations in the right context. Your network isn't just for asking for favors, it's your real-life university and your unofficial capital bank. If your 5 closest friends earn an average of $50,000 a year, it's almost mathematically certain that this will be your ceiling. It's not a coincidence. It's the homogeneity of thought. You desperately need to surround yourself with people who play a bigger financial game than you. People who make you uncomfortable with your mediocrity. Going deeper, the value of a high-level contact isn't in what they can give you, but in how they force you to think. They expose you to $100 million problems, while you're solving $100 problems. That recalibrates your ambition. The most profitable investment you'll make won't be in a stock, but in an event, a dinner, or a mentorship that connects you to that sphere. Principle number 7. The spending reversal cycle. The contract with the future. The mistake of the middle class is living in a perpetual reaction cycle: pay off debts, pay expenses, and if there's anything left over, save it. This is a life of slavery. Always reacting to last month's bills. The spending reversal cycle principle is a declaration of independence. It's about paying yourself first, no negotiation. But we're not talking about passive saving. We're talking about productive investment first. The flow should be: gross income, automatic investment, assets, systems, taxes, essential expenses, discretionary spending, luxury. Luxury and pleasure should be the last line of your budget, not the first. You're signing a contract with your future millionaire self, and that investment is the first clause. If you treat your investments as an option, they'll always remain an option. If you treat them as a non-negotiable obligation, they become your foundation. Principle number 8. Capital as fuel, not a trophy. The dynamics of idle money in the bank, in excess of your emergency fund, is not security, it's financial laziness. The capital as fuel principle defines money as a resource that degrades if not used. Every unit of capital you possess is a potential employee waiting for a work order. If that unit is idle, you're paying a slacker a salary. A scarcity mindset accumulates money to feel secure. An abundance mindset deploys money to create more money. Contrast example: a poor person saves $50,000 in a static account. A wealthy person uses that $50,000 as a down payment on an asset that generates $500 per month. In 2 years, the wealthy person not only owns the asset but also has $12,000 more, while the poor person has $50,000 with less purchasing power. Money must be in constant motion and reinvestment, like water in an ecosystem. If it stagnates, it rots. Principle number 9. The law of legacy versus instant pleasure. Delaying gratification. This is the battle fought with every credit card. The battle between the me of today and the me of the future. The principle of the law of legacy is the ability to delay gratification on a generational level. It's not about waiting a year for a car, it's about making choices that ensure your grandchildren are born into a state of financial advantage, not debt or struggle. Most people want the reward of the rich, luxuries, before they've gone through the process of becoming rich, sacrifice and quiet investment. What choices are you making today that will give you freedom 10 years from now, instead of a dopamine rush today? The wealthy person is building a foundation, assets, while the average person is building facades, luxuries. Luxury is proof that the money has already arrived. The mistake is using luxury as proof that it's coming. This consistency between present action and future vision is the DNA of lasting success. If you know someone who urgently needs to change their approach to life and stop living for instant gratification, share this video with them right now. This is a truth that must be heard and applied. Principle number 10. Consistency of purpose. The moral compass of wealth. You can be rich without being successful. Success is the fusion of financial wealth with a fulfilling purpose. The principle of consistency of purpose is your reason for wanting wealth. If it's only to fill an emotional void or impress others, money will become a hollow reminder of your inadequacy. Money should be the tool to amplify your impact on the world. If your purpose is education, wealth gives you the platform to educate millions. If your purpose is conservation, it gives you the capital to protect entire ecosystems. If you woke up tomorrow with $100 million, would your routine change, or would it simply be amplified? If your answer is, I would stop doing everything I do, it means you're building wealth on a life you hate. The true purpose is to build a life you love, so that money only gives you the ability to make it bigger, not abandon it. Real wealth is freedom of dedication. Stop chasing money. Chase architecture. Chase alignment between your identity and your ambition. Chase building systems that buy your time back. Chase the company of minds that compel you to play a bigger game. Abundance isn't something that comes to you. It's the natural state of a well-designed system. The question is no longer how much money you want. The question is, are you willing to burn out your old self, give up instant gratification, and redesign your life so that wealth has no choice but to flow to you? A house is built from the foundation up. Start with the mud. Start with your mind. Your wealth begins now.